Whenever you think of the word hustle, I'm sure the first thing that pops in your head is the beautiful, bald, alpha sigma wolf, Andrew Tate. The crusader of masculinity, the mask of men, and the face of my personal favorite Bojack. Andrew Tate is undeniably one of the men of all time, with his videos reaching thousands of little boys, influencing them to drop their balls a little sooner than normal. And those same videos partially jump-starting the Sigma male trend. Or was it the Alpha Wolf trend? Whatever, I'm too old for this shit. MLG was way better.
Oh, hello there!
Now, looking at Tate's content, it's pretty obvious that he doesn't make that many good opinions, especially when it comes to women.
How are women allowed to drive?
And with that clip in mind, I'm sure he's not going to attract a female audience, but instead garner a lot of hatred from those women he seems to complain a lot about. And that sadly means that the chronically online woman will have no one to look up to. Who are they possibly supposed to look up to now? Hatred, agony, ego. All the perfect ingredients to make the female counterparts of Andrew Tate, so that the female population can finally have a person to look up to.
Guys, I'm disappointed. Like, honestly, I don't know what I did to you guys for me to get asked a question like this.
Now, if you ask me if this woman was a really good role model to look up to, I would say hell no. Because the shit that this woman spews from her mouth makes my insides churn. This woman is TheWizardLiz, and is the female counterpart to Andrew Tate that I kept waffling about in this intro. Just like Andrew, she has her own audience of easily influenced girls that follow her deranged opinions and philosophies. Just as Andrew Tate has his own audience of easily influenced boys that also follow his deranged opinions and philosophies, with the only massive difference between these two being their gender.
What did I do to you guys?
Now, Liz makes some really dumbass takes that fit her narrative, with most of them being contradictory or just objectively wrong. Funny enough, a lot of it is really just obvious facts and advice that I'm sure she just probably searched up on Google to include in a 30-minute video. Which is alright, I guess, but I wasted a lot of my time listening to her waffle about how I should try and make decisions that benefit me.
I only make decisions that will benefit me. So whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job opportunity, whether it's someone that I allow into my life, these are always people or things that will benefit me in the long run.
No way. Oh yeah, man. How did I not know this from the beginning? All along, I've been choosing to make decisions that are bad for me. Like the other day, man, I shot myself in the foot earlier because I was bored. I didn't know I should have been making decisions that benefit me. What? Now, this really isn't that bad because I do acknowledge that some people do need to hear some really obvious advice. Maybe if they're not too smart or a bit shy or whatever. But it did annoy me when I wasted 20 minutes of my time listening to a woman tell me that stuff that's blatantly obvious to me and the general population. Apart from that, the rest of the advice that she gives is blatantly and objectively wrong, at least by our standards, and stuff that you really shouldn't listen to. In preparation for this video, I, myself, decided to sit down and force myself to watch the videos on her channel on how to be a better person, just so I could summarize it here today and deliver my rebuttal for it. One of the best videos, at least in my opinion, was her money meditation video, which is just a video of a PNG of money with her doing ASMR in the background, casting a spell on you so that you could make money in the future.
Wiggle your arms and legs.
11 minutes, a still background with some woman whispering into the mic for 11 minutes. You cannot make this shit up. And what's even worse is that her dumb ape fans in the comment section are falling for it.
This works. I've been doing this for almost 2 weeks. I am a money magnet. I'm grateful for the abundance and the Queen Wizard Liz. This actually works. I did this in January and February and got around $400 basically handed to me. So grateful for you, Liz. It worked. I watched this and now my income has increased by like 300%. It's crazy, but if you truly believe it, it will happen no matter what. This video definitely works. What is this, a fucking infinite money glitch?
This shit is fucking egregious. Let's move on. For this video, I decided to watch a few of her videos that best represent her mindset, while leaving out the obvious fluff that doesn't need to be discussed. On a general note, one thing I didn't like about these videos is about how goddamn long they are. This is pretty subjective, but these videos are so fucking long. Now, I would excuse this if the information in the video was actually good, but it's pretty much the opposite, since a good majority of the opinions she spews is either painfully obvious or just wrong. And again, it gets pretty annoying when I waste 20 minutes of my time watching stuff I already know. Another reason for the massive length is the pacing. She isn't too good at pacing when it comes to conveying her arguments. If it takes you 26 minutes to waffle about how cool you are, you need to fix your pacing. It shouldn't take you that long. Other than that, I don't have anything else to generally say among these videos, and most of these criticisms in this video will be about different opinions conveyed from each video.
Hey Liz, I've been seeing this guy for 2 weeks. We went on a couple of dates. After those 2 weeks, he basically ghosted her.
Before we get into any specifics about each of these videos, we can look at two general issues with her channel and her videos. Firstly is that her advice is anecdotal, coming from her own experience and anecdotes from her own life, where she learned these things to improve her life as a whole, or is currently using them in her life. The reason I bring this up is because of how subjective her advice can be depending on who is listening to it. Throughout many of her videos, I've seen advice that yes, may have benefited her, but through my belief, won't have the same effect on other people. Her unique circumstances and situations lead me to believe that her ways in solving them to become better won't be enough, or at worst, do the opposite of help other people who are watching in their own situations and their own circumstances. The best example of this is seen in this video, where she talks about how it's easier for her to attract her consequences rather than chase for them.
She always chasing things, always trying to accomplish whatever. And you know what I've realized? Because being in your feminine basically means letting it flow. Just receiving things and just being calm, nurturing, things like that, you know. And I realized when I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop chasing everything and just attracting. That's when everything also came in, because I am so relaxed. Like, I do not want to stress anymore about anything. I just do whatever I feel is good for me. I do whatever I feel is good for my body. And it makes me very calm. It makes me very open to receive all my blessings, to receive all my manifestations. And I think when you are not desperately looking for things or desperately chasing after things, then you're really whole. And your energy is whole. When I am whole, anything I want in my life will come to me anyways. Because I am not desperate. The energy of desperation is gone. I can attract anything I want, whenever I want. Another thing is only...
Her wording for this assertion is a bit vague. I can't tell if she could be referring to material possessions and how we should stop chasing after them, or if she's talking about goals or accomplishments that you chase for, or maybe both. Either way, she essentially says how she can attract anything she wants, which in her case can work for her and benefit her and make her happy, but that is for reasons that are not common among the general viewer base. Liz is rich, she is pretty, she has all of these luxuries and things that make it easier for her to live her lifestyle of attracting instead of chasing, with these same reasons being obviously not applied to the common man. To address her advice head on, I don't truly believe that everything you want in life will come to you just by manifesting it and waiting for it to come. At some point in life, you will have to stress yourself, you will have to work, and you will have to chase. There obviously isn't anything wrong with this so long as your goal benefits you directly. I do believe that desperation can be redundant in a few cases, but to plainly sit back and relax and wait for blessings in your life to simply come to you is abhorrent. You will have to work, you will have to fight. That is just life. There are countless of other examples of her unique experiences and reasons influencing her choices and advice, with many of those reasons being that she is rich or pretty. But this doesn't apply to some of her other advice, which have the means to be applied to the common man. But the fact of the matter is that a good portion of her advice cannot be taken by the common man, since they mostly do not possess the luxuries of being rich or being pretty like she does, preventing them from doing the same things that she is allowed to do to make herself better. The second general topic that strays from subjectivity is the selfishness that she blatantly discusses from her videos, and she is pretty proud of it.
I sit at tables that are full. I don't need to bring anything else than my presence, my personality, who I am, and my beauty. I sit there and that's good enough for the guy. I don't have this feeling of caring about others. Like, honestly, I don't. I really don't. Selfish people win at the end of the day. The selfish ones win.
I have literally everything I want, and if a man cannot give me more than I already have, or he can add to what I have, why is he there?
As you can see, she talks a lot about how you should be selfish about yourself, with a lot of her other advice being influenced by that selfishness. I can understand the end goal from a lot of the selfishness, and that is to prioritize yourself and your well-being, which is something I agree with. But she's blown this self-prioritization idea way out of proportion, to the point in where if something isn't helping you in the end, you shouldn't do it. If someone isn't benefiting you physically, get rid of them. You can see these sort of ideas brought up in this video, where she talks about how you should stop making yourself available to help other people, and how you should just not help people overall because it brings you no benefit.
Always available and trying to save everyone. See, the issue with me was my phone was always on. I'm always on my phone. Like, whenever somebody would text me, immediately I would text back. Like, if they need advice, I would give them advice. I would give them every single thing. But you know what happens? Then you're always the one that people reach out to when they have problems. But what about, when just everything is going good? Like, can why am I always the one that's being trauma dumped on? Why are you always telling me this stuff? Maybe I don't have the mental capacity to handle that. Maybe I am going through some stuff as well. But because I was this people pleaser of like, oh, just whatever, I'll make sure that you're okay. It was like, why doesn't anyone make sure that I'm okay? And that's because I do not even make sure that I'm okay. I was showing them, hey, listen, you can always come to me. And that's also like me not having boundaries. If you have strong boundaries and you say like, hey, listen, I don't want to listen to your problems today. I have enough of my problems. Enough. And even more, But you don't care about that though. You just come to me because I allow you to come and I have no boundaries. So at the end of the day, that is my mistake. And so I had to learn to not always be available. If I do not want to answer your message, I won't answer your message. Maybe I will answer in like 2 days, 3 days, but I don't answer immediately anymore. I don't care. I genuinely do not care. I don't have the mental capacity or the energy.
Now, to address this piece head on, her analysis for it is that people always step over her and always expect her to help without showing any help back. Which isn't a problem with being helpful, but having shitty friends. Just her getting confused between causation and causality. Get rid of those shitty friends. Secondly, be a good friend. A good friend helps their friend if they have any problems. Of course, you shouldn't let people step over you, and you should of course prioritize your well-being first, but if you do have the means to help your buddy out, you should probably do so, or else you'd be looked on as an asshole. I do believe in some of her other advice. She may be getting confused between being selfish and being self-respecting. There obviously is a line between the two terms, and I don't blame anyone for getting confused between them. In fact, to define both terms, Quora defines it finely here. Read it yourself. As well as these two Reddit philosophers from 5 years ago. Take note of these lines. It's very important, especially this one. To address this selfishness issue, we can look at this graph I've made about your image on yourself. On the left is being self-deprecative. You have no self-esteem, unconfident about yourself, and have a negative image on yourself. The middle is self-respected with a high self-esteem, confident about yourself with a positive image. On the far right is being selfish and self-centered. overconfident about yourself and your abilities to the point of misunderstanding yourself by overestimating yourself. With this graph in place, you're probably wondering, where should you place yourself and how should you act? Well, the answer is that you should be balanced, in this spot right here. Having a positive self-image on yourself, but also being humble not to overestimate yourself and your abilities. Now, looking at some of Liz's advice on being selfish, I can believe that she's getting confused between being self-respected and being full-on selfish. Like this one here.
I'm so tired of constantly giving, and just feeling empty at the end of the day. Now, what I do first is I fill my own cup. First, like, am I okay? Am I whole? Yes, okay, then I can give to you as well. But if I am empty, I cannot give you anything because I don't have anything to give.
Prioritizing your needs above other people's wants isn't being selfish, Liz. It's being self-respected. Note back to this Reddit philosopher from before. It literally links back here. This mistake between these two terms are detrimental because her fans are going to listen to her thinking being actually selfish is a good thing, causing them to act like narcissistic pricks when they step outside, when in all reality it's not what was truly meant. At the end of the day, be self-respected. Have confidence in yourself, but also humble yourself so that you don't overestimate yourself and come off as a narcissistic prick. With those two general issues being done, we can move into each problem specifically across all 4 videos. Now, I will admit this, I sounded way too aggressive in the intro to this video towards Liz, and for that, I would like to formally apologize.
I've made a severe...
You're probably asking, comical, why don't you just redo the intro to sound more mature? Well, to answer that, I am lazy and I don't want to, and it's easier to just state it here. So yes, I was way too aggressive in the intro. Something respectable I get is that she's helped a lot of people, in the same vein that Andrew Tate has helped a lot of his fans, and a little of Liz's advice could be pretty helpful, so 1 gold star for that. I'd rather someone be narcissistic than depressed. But that itself doesn't excuse some of the horrible advice that she does give. And the little amount of good advice gets outshined by the more bad pieces. Not only because of how atrocious some of it can be, but also because of the amount of bad advice at best contends against the amount of good advice, but actually mostly supersedes the amount of good advice. I would have included this video here, but it's been discussed enough, so I don't think it's too important to discuss here. I'll try my best to give my own takes and not repeat what TBYS is saying, but you should watch his videos if you're interested about some of the other dumb shit that this woman talks about. If I ever do use some things from these videos, I'll make sure to indicate so. Looking at this first video, I have picked through some of it throughout this entire video, so I'll just pick out the rest of the points. Like this one, which states that helping people is sabotaging God's plan.
Life or certain situations because God gives that to them and it's for them to learn and it's for them to go through so they can become wiser and so they can fulfill their life purpose kind of.
Now, as a God believer myself, I call this advice absolute booty cheeks. Literally by the point that God's plan for a person could include you coming to save them. Also, she questions what message this would send to God. Mate, if God is getting angry at me for trying to help and save someone, that God isn't good, nor is it real. Also, isn't her channel literally made for helping people? Even if it isn't, she still helped a lot of people with them thanking her in the comment section. So she's quote unquote sabotaged many of God's plans. What a hypocrite. Another piece of advice at the end of the video tells you to just block out any criticism against you.
So you saying like, oh yeah, don't do this, whatever. No, I don't care. Yeah, your opinion is irrelevant to me because how cocky are you to think that you know me better than I know myself? You have not gone through anything that I have gone through. You have not lived my life and yet you are here deciding whether you think it's okay or not what I'm doing. None of your business. Goodbye.
Yes guys, if someone comes to you with a genuinely better way for you to do what you want to do, don't listen to them, because criticism bad. To close yourself from criticism is very dumb, because you'd be potentially ignoring any valid and helpful criticism that would help you. it's better to make yourself open to criticism so you can take in the potentially valid points to help you, and even if you encounter any bad, invalid criticisms that isn't helpful at all, then just ignore it. If we go under the presupposition that she assumed, being that the viewer is able to ignore all types of criticism, then the viewer should also be able to ignore purely invalid criticism under my ideology. Moving on to video 2, being that we should stop dating broke guys. Now I know the Liz Glazers will think they have a gotcha by laughing at me, a man, complaining about a video that complains about men. But frankly, I myself identify as the Five Nights at Freddy's character Lolbert, a character whose gender is still debated to this day. Therefore, I am in every position and have every right to poke fun at this video. Out of the other videos she's made, this one was actually slightly entertaining. She was actually pretty enthusiastic in this one. I don't know why this one specifically, maybe she has a lot of passion for complaining about men, or she drank 2 beers before making this. My theory is that she did both. She begins the video by complaining about men having high standards, calling them spoiled.
Women out here have been making these men so spoiled. They want new things now. They want even more things that women already do. Like, we already do so much, but now they want more. Now they want flowers. Now they want money. Now they want everything.
From this, it sounds like she doesn't like high standards, right? Well, no, because she then says that women should be as bad as men to also have high standards, after she just called men spoiled for also having them.
Okay, first things first, we are gonna start doing is having expectations for men.
Well, okay, that's like one bit of hypocrisy. Maybe we could just skim past that one and move on to the next point. She then complains about men who have high standards for women that cry over women having high standards for men.
But don't you dare, as a woman, expect anything from that man. You want a tall man? How dare you? How dare you ask for a tall man? No. You should accept him being ugly.
Fair point. That is a problem. I do agree. And then she butchers it by being hypocritical once again, saying that women should have high standards and should expect men to have little to none.
What do you bring to the table is broke guy talk. No guy that is actually willing to provide and actually take care of a woman will ever tell you, what do you bring to the table? Shut up. So start having expectations. Say, hey, I want my man to have this, and on top of that, I want my man to have money. Even if you don't feel comfortable to take money from the guy or whatever, he has to work, okay? You want to split the bills? Fine, split the bills, but make sure he makes money as well.
Right, well, 2 points of hypocrisy. Maybe we can ignore that one too, just for her sake. Another point she makes is that you should date more than one person to have a variety of options.
If you're in the dating phase and you're not in a relationship, you're just dating, getting to know each other, keep your options open, okay? Who starts, literally, like, you know what women do? They see one guy, they date, they go on one date, they're like, okay, this is the guy.
What? She just complained about men who also date more than one woman.
If he does that, he's the king. Oh my god, he told his mother that he's dating me. Oh wow. Amazing. What a wonderful guy. But did he tell his mom as well that he's dating 10 other girls at the same time? Listen, I'm tired of this, okay?
Come on, Liz. How many points are you gonna mess up by being hypocritical? Come on. It's very clear in this video that she has double standards between men and women, with her standards in favor of women. Women are allowed to have high standards, but not men. Ew, no, not the icky gross men. They're spoiled. But us women, we can have all the high standards we want. Men dating other women? Ew, get them out of here. But not us women, we can date all the men that we want. There's no problem with it. Obviously, men and women should be allowed to do the same thing. Men and women can have whatever standards suit them, and both are allowed to open their option pool, etc, etc. What I also find funny is this piece of advice here telling women to let men know that they're dating other men.
And make sure they know you're keeping your options open. Make sure that literally, because women are like to be like, no, you're the only one. Oh, I love you the most, blah, blah. When I started dating my boyfriend, he literally asked me, Liz, are you seeing other people? I'm like, yes, I'm dating other people. And then he was like, okay, I have to win this girl over because there is no way that I want.
Now, if you're a woman watching this, which is highly unlikely, do this exact piece of advice if you want to chase away any man that you want. Because 9 times out of 10, when you tell a man that, they'll just piss off and find someone else because that's seen as toxic and unloyal by many men. Of course, she can do this piece of advice because, as pointed out before, she has the luxury of being extremely pretty by conventional standards and rich, so a man is going to chase after her for those mere facts, whereas the common girl doesn't possess those luxuries, so practicing that advice would be a little difficult. What's kind of funny is that she states how she can live without a man and with her own money.
I can do it on my own. I can do it on my own as well. Like right now, if I leave my relationship, I can take care of myself and 7 children. Literally, I can live a luxury lifestyle on my own with my own money. But why would I do that? I'm so broke, guys.
When she's made it public that she's only become rich through her first boyfriend.
Why I love a man that provides and spoils is because, for example, my partner that I have right now, he was literally the reason that I could go into therapy. Like, I did not have any money before I met him, and the money he gave me, I took it and I went to therapy with it. Like, without that, I would have literally not been able to be here and to start my healing journey.
Also, I want to know what type of men she's interacted with because she describes all men to be these awful creatures.
They see you as like a competition. They do not see you as a lover of their partner or their partner. Listen, the minute one of his friends says, "Oh my god, your girl is so ugly," or "Oh my god, your girl is a hoe," you know how quick they will be to dismiss you? They'll be like, "Ew, yeah, you're right, she's a hoe. Yeah, she doesn't look that great." You know why? Because men don't like women. Men like men.
These motherfuckers sound like Disney villains. It should be obvious that not all men are gonna act like this, and that's a big problem. A lot of this advice is made to go against the men that she describes, targeted to deal with those types of men. The problem is that she advertises this advice as advice that you can use on all men, which is false, as it's targeted mainly towards the jerks that she paints all men to be. Not all of this advice will work on all men. For example, the one we just discussed before about telling a man that you're dating other men. So if you are going to listen to this advice, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I don't want you, brokey.
Now with those 2 videos summed up, I'd like to look at the last one. As an internet philosopher, historian and professor, one thing I've noticed is a great war against men and women. Both of them trying to paint the opposite in a bad light. All men are these rapist assholes who are worse than bears. And all women are these manipulative love bombers who suck at dating and are worse than tigers. I am sick of it. Whenever I see a misogynistic video camouflaged as a male respect video, or a misandric video camouflaged as a female respect video, my blood boils to the point steam shoots out of my ears. Some of this hate for women can stem back to Andrew Tate, as a lot of his advice is centered against women, with that same advice influencing the baby brains of TikTok and the rest of the internet. Although that doesn't mean Andrew is responsible for all of it, only a short stack. And I feel like the same logic can be applied to Liz in the opposite way. This video, inherently villainizing men and having double standards against them, will create the impression on Liz's impressionable fans that it's okay to disrespect other men. In fact, she doesn't only push advice that disrespects men in this video, she does it in many other videos like this one, teaching women to constantly compare the potential partner to an ex you had before.
Is do not tell a man that your exes treated you badly. The way men think is, and this is actually what my man told me, he thinks, okay, I have to do a little bit more than the ex, in that way I'm like a little better, you know, I have to do the bare minimum more, so then in her eyes I'm better than the ex. So if you tell him, oh, my ex used to beat me up and abuse me, then he will think, oh, okay, if I just don't abuse her, I'm the good guy, okay? So what I recommend you do is always tell him, oh yeah, my exes, they always used to take care of me, like I was always financially taken care of, all these things. You have to tell a man that. And maybe later down the line when you're already in a relationship.
To attack this advice head on, firstly, this is literally disrespectful and rude for your partner, constantly badgering him about how he isn't as good as your ex and how he needs to be better. Secondly, you are going to annoy your man with this one, to the point where I would know he'd begin to dislike you. Except for her, because as said before, she has the luxuries to make him chase her. Thirdly, this creates the impression that you're still attached to your ex. If you're gonna continuously salivate over things your ex did, you're gonna sound like you still want her. Going back to the main point, this advice catered against disrespecting men is only going to grow this gender war. Again, I'm not blaming Liz for creating misandry, but her forcing some of it into her advice is definitely going to have an effect on her impressionable fans, in the same way that Andrew Tate forcing a few bits of misogyny in some of his opinions had an effect on his impressionable fans. Of course, I don't believe Liz is as aggressive as Tate, but the impression on their fans is quite similar. At the end of the day, my boys and girls, live a balanced life, don't be a cunt, and subscribe to the Comical Hydra YouTube channel. That is the best thing you could ever do. I am in no way supporting hate towards Liz, and this video is just some criticisms against her advice. Although I don't think Liz would really care according to what she does against criticism. If you were a TheWizardLiz fan, I have two things to say to you. Firstly is that I'm proud of you for watching this full video, if you really did. Because a lot of Liz's glazers would look at the length of this video, dislike the video, leave a hate comment and leave to slobber over another Liz video, without watching 1 minute of my video. So well done. Secondly, is that if you have any bad feelings against me, my Discord is wide open and I'm willing to get dirty. Please like and subscribe, support is massively appreciated, especially for my small ass channel. I have nothing else to say and I'll see you all in the next video, if I'm still alive after this one.
Platform shoes included, and apparently locally well-known rent boy. The other comical thing